guys, welcome back to Simply Fujica, a place for budding and aspiring entrepreneurs. If you are new to this channel, I do want to welcome you. My name is Fujica and I serve this community as a business mentor and business coach for those wanting to start your home care agencies and other businesses. Guys, really quickly before I forget, do not forget I have launched the course Home Care Licensing. The link is in the description below. Class is actually slated to start November 5th, and then of course it will conclude on December 10th. So this is a 6 weeks course. At the end of that course, you will be ready for licensing. So you don't want to delay because enrollment is limited. Okay guys, with that, let's get started. So today we are talking about making a decision as a family on whether or not you should receive home health care services. So a lot of times we talk on this channel from the reference point of starting the business and starting your own home care agency. But more and more, I'm starting to talk to you guys behind the scenes to where you're the one providing the care. You know, it is very common, especially in this economy today, that there are 2, sometimes 3 generations living in one household. And so as our population ages, there is a lot of us who are taking care of loved ones in our homes. And while that's a beautiful thing, at some point there should be a communication, there should be a conversation surrounding, is it time to reach out for help? So that's what we're talking about in today's video. I know it's I know for us it's kind of a difficult conversation to have, but it is a necessary conversation. So with that guys, let's get started. So the first tip that I have for you guys is to have a family discussion. Now, I will say this again from personal experience. This is not going to be an easy conversation. Most of the time, our family members are going to say, no, I don't need anyone to come in. No, I don't want to cause any trouble. No, everything will be okay. However, we really need to make sure and really be intuitive and understand that the person may be saying that, but they could be feeling something entirely different. So this is where you really need to partner with that loved one to understand what is their diagnosis. With that diagnosis, what are their limitations? Do you have a time frame in which this person's level of mobility will improve, or will it continue to decline over amount of time? Based on what that care is saying, then you as a family can come together and have a holistic, realistic conversation about whether care is needed. So again, you want to make sure that all minds are on the same page when you come together for this discussion. Remember, it's a sensitive one. So we want to come together in a sensitive way to talk about what are our best next steps. But as long as everyone is on the same page and there's a common goal that is decided upon, then you should leave that conversation as a family unit and ready to be positioned in a better place. The second tip that I have for you guys, and this is something that I wish I would have done a lot sooner, is know your limits. Know your limits. Because that person that you're taking care of, they don't want to be in that position, right? Something has happened in their health that has put them in a place where they need someone to take care of them. So, understandably so, your life has now changed as a result of that. However, your responsibilities have not. So if you have your family that you're attending to, you may have a job, you know, you've got to take your kids to and from wherever they need to be. Those things don't stop because care is needed. And so this is where you really have to have an honest conversation with yourself, because understandably so, you're going to want to do everything. You're going to want to make sure that you take care of everything. You're a champion behind the scenes. You're really going to push through. But it is safer for everyone involved and for actually the stability of your relationship moving forward. It's very important that you not only know your limits, but that you discuss them. Because at the end of this, however this ends, you want to make sure that your relationship is intact. And allowing someone to come in and alleviate some of that load will leave that person that you're caring for and yourself in a much better position. So again, make sure you know your limits, and as soon as you know and define them, be ready to discuss them. Again, you want to make sure the conversation is a healthy one and that you leave that conversation better than you were when you went in. The third tip I have for you is a good one, which is make sure you understand your resources. So actually, this was something that I learned about years ago when my mother was requiring care. So typically, depending on the insurance type that you have, and depending on the situation, your parent or loved one should have some type of caseworker. Sometimes it is a social worker, but they should have someone that's in charge of resources that are available for your loved one. You want to know what those resources are. I'll use myself as an example. When we were initially looking for care for my stepfather, we had no clue what in-home support was. So before we hired someone to come into the home and start helping us with providing care, it was my mom providing that care. And again, this kind of goes back to that second tip that I just gave you in terms of understanding your limits. It was too hard for my mother to continue lifting and turning someone that is, 2 times her size. So again, this is where it really helps to understand, well, what are those benefits that I have access to so that I can have someone else provide that level of care? If you are in a position where you actually can provide that level of care, again, you want to know what those resources are, because had we have known about in-home support services, my mom could have been receiving those payments for taking care of my stepfather, in addition to having someone else come in to help with that care on the county's dollar instead of our personal money. So again, it's just understanding what your resources are, making sure that you have someone that you can turn to that can explain what those resources are. Sometimes when you try to go at these things alone, you may not know the proper processes. A lot of times there's a lot of forms involved. So that person should be able to walk you through and provide you with resources to make it a good decision for you and everyone involved. So again, it's very important for you to start asking who that person is, and even start with that primary doctor, start with that primary caretaker. Who is the person that should have a list of resources available for your loved one? Guys, my fourth and final tip today is keep the lines of communication open. Again, you want to make sure that you're frequently checking in with your loved one. Let's say you do decide to go ahead and have someone come into the home to provide that care. Make sure you're shadowing that person for a minute. Make sure you're watching them provide that care. Sometimes when you just kind of sit back and take a look, you can really pick up a lot of those nonverbal cues. Are the interactions nice, smooth ones? Does it get quiet all of a sudden when you step into the room? These are things you want to dig a little bit deeper. Make sure you understand what's going on. And then vice versa, you want to make sure that the care that you're paying for is at that level that you're expecting it to be. You'll never know, though, if you don't ask those questions and if you don't observe the person that you have hired to come into your home. The second piece of that is talking to your loved one. Ask your loved one after a couple of visits or so how's it going? How is Fujica? I know I've seen her a couple of times this week. How's she doing? Ask her those questions. And really sometimes, guys, because again, our loved ones will sometimes tell you, oh, everything's fine, everything's good. Dig deeper. Well, tell me what good means. Tell me what's fine about it. Tell me what you're liking. Tell me what you don't like. Those types of things to make sure that you're getting an honest response from your loved one. Also, if you are the person providing that care, again, as you're providing that care, you probably don't want to ask those types of questions. But let's say that you're just having a regular night, maybe everyone's calmed down for the evening, we've already had dinner. That's a good time to just have a small little nice check. Hey, how are things going? Is there anything more that I can do for you? Is there any way that I can make this easier for you? So you want to, again, make sure that you're open to receive the answer, right? Because we want to make sure that we have honest communication with our loved ones. But you really want to put yourself in a place where you kind of fall back a little bit, because again, this is our loved one that we care about that is needing that care. So you want to make sure that any interaction that you have with them is an open and honest one, because we love them and we want what's best for them ultimately. Okay guys, that is all I have for this video. Again, because I've gone through this process twice, I do know that it can be difficult. I definitely know that it's sensitive, it could be a little sticky, but the more that you have open and honest communication, the better you and your family will be off as a result. Okay, if you guys have had a similar situation, share with us. Share your experiences in the comments. We would love to kind of talk you through it. I know sometimes just talking about it is almost like a therapy, right? Because you just have someone who's willing to listen to you that's not in the middle of the situation with you. Okay guys, and then I have one last request for you. Definitely make sure it is good for the channel the more likes we have. So make sure you like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel and share this video. Share this information with people that are actually either taking care of loved ones, or they're in the process of making that decision on whether they should go outside to bring in that external care. You know, definitely this is something we want to make sure that they have an avenue or a resource to look at such as this. But guys, that's all I have for you today. Stay blessed.